Hello beautiful people, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I am bringing you my guest, Zoe. So I was introduced to Zoe through a friend and I am so excited for her to share her story with you. In this episode we'll be talking about health and fitness, we'll be talking about nutrients, pharmaceutical pills, and also about mindset. Basically we talked about life. But of course we talked about her story and what she offers as well. Now if you're someone who has never ever done weightlifting, you are going to enjoy this episode. And if you're a woman who is unsure how exercising can be beneficial for you, come on, how can you not know? If you need some assurance, continue watching. Zoe is going to share some things with you. Now, you will definitely enjoy this episode if you're a woman, let's say you're 50s and over, because she's going to share some tips with you on how you can really look after your health. And she will also share an inspiring story from one of her clients. Now, because Zoe and I had such an amazing chat, I asked her so many questions and she was so generous with her knowledge. So this health and fitness and this mindset topic will be in two parts. So enjoy! Before we start the interview, I just want to say a huge thank you because I know you're really busy with your study at the moment. And so yeah, thank you so much for sparing time to share your story. But before you tell people your story, I would love to know, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling fantastic, and I was absolutely I've been so excited all week and all morning about doing this podcast. So I haven't taken time out. I've made time for this. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Thank you. I feel very honored that you are making time for me. So sweet. You say you're feeling good. Why?
I think that, well, when I'm the type of person that likes to feel good every day. So that's a very big part of who I am. That even though I'm in Melbourne, so we've been in, I think we're in like week 24 of lockdowns or something like that at this stage. There's no point waking up going, I feel crap. If anything, you should wake up going, I feel unstoppable today. It's raining outside, fantastic.
What a great mindset. That's amazing, honestly. And that is something actually you are trying to help more people to do, isn't it?
Yeah, just to step out of I suppose the space where they feel small and they feel unempowered, to be able to start waking up each day feeling just energized and empowered and so connected with themselves. Yeah.
Before we talk about how you help people though, I would love you to bring everyone back to the you where you haven't felt powerful, because I'm sure you have been through stuff. So yeah, share your story with people, please.
Well, growing up, so I guess I'm not going to be one of those people that says like, well, back in the day. No, well, I guess the first, I suppose, 20 years of my life, so I'm 31 now, the first 20 years of my life, I didn't eat. So from day one, I was a horrendous baby. I just didn't want to eat. I was one of those hell children, like you'd see those kids in the supermarket that just be screaming. That was me. And and because I didn't eat properly for the first 20 years of my life, I was very much undernourished, and I was constantly sick. So every month growing up, I was in bed with some form of sickness. I was constantly on some form of new medication each month, to the point that I had whooping cough at one stage. For about 3 weeks I was bedridden, and it was just an endless cycle. And because I didn't eat and because my immune system was so deflated, I just felt completely disempowered. Of course, that fed into mindset as well. So I grew up feeling very much depressed. And my first memories of that were probably around, I'd say, around 8 years old, I think, is when I first started noticing that I was depressed. Yeah. So growing up, it was very much, I felt weak, and I felt incapable. And that was the life that I lived for so many years. And yeah, so I guess that's probably the first answer to that question. I can continue on from there, but I've spent past 11 years now just really honing in on making sure that I don't become that person again, and making sure that I can help nourish that inner child within me, and really grow to be the best possible version of myself that I can be.
Yes, thank you for saying that, and thank you for being so honest, and thank you for sharing that story. 8 years old, what the heck?
I think it was around 8, because I remember, like, this is getting into the deep end straight off the bat. But I remember lying in bed, like, crying myself to sleep, going, I don't want to be here anymore. I just like, that was literally it. But then I go, oh, but then I won't get birthday cake.
Ah,
And so that was my to live at that stage, was that I wanted birthday cake.
thank you, birthday cakes.
Yeah, so, and like, I know that I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of people out there that they've grown up feeling really miserable, and a lot of it does come from health. Like I said, a lot of it was because I didn't eat. So my neurotransmitters weren't functioning properly. My gut microbiome wasn't functioning properly because I was constantly on and off of medications. So yeah, health plays such a huge role in the developmental stage of your mindset as well. So yeah, like, it's been a long journey, but it's definitely like, it's definitely the biggest part for me is making sure that I do wake up every day going, I can do this.
Yes, girl. Yes, you can. And I'm so happy for you that you have turned your life around. But I want to ask, so you say you are not a fan of food since young. Do you know why?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I guess, research that's kind of done on the nutritional state of women when they are going through pregnancy, and that can play a role in children and their cortisol levels, their neurotransmitter development, and all that sort of stuff. So, especially if you've got a mother or a pregnant woman that is she's going through a lot of stress herself, and my mother had quite a lot of miscarriages before me, so even if she doesn't want to admit it, she was very stressed going through my pregnancy, because she'd been there, done that so many times before, where it just hadn't eventuated. And the way that I kind of look at that is that it's like, okay, so that was all just me. I just wasn't ready to be brought into this world yet. But for my mum at the time, it was just another cycle of pregnant, hoping to have a baby, doesn't follow through. And each time she'd go through that cycle, her body would be depleting in nutrients as well. So for me, when I finally was able to come out into this world, I had the best possible the nutrients available to me at the time, and I definitely don't put that blame on my mum, because she only did what she could do, and she wanted her second child, damn it. But yeah, it does actually play a huge role. So stress during pregnancy does equate to having more stressed children. And that was from day one. So it wasn't that I was a fussy eater as a toddler or anything like that. There was no starting point with it for me. It was literally, as soon as I came out, just didn't want a bar of it.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for putting that picture in everyone's mind, because especially for those women who might want to be a mother one day, and those who are pregnant, etc., because really what you eat is literally in your body, and you're going to give it to your children, and the way that you feel, where your mindset is, like, however you said it was very beautiful. And also thank you for saying that you don't blame your mother, because like you said, she only did whatever she knew how. So that was beautiful. Thank you. I would love to know, how did you stumble upon naturopathy?
Naturopathy, I guess I stumbled across that when I was already studying nutrition. So I started studying nutrition at Endeavour back in, I think it was 2014. And I was looking to switch to a different school that just was outside of the CBD. I wanted somewhere that was a little bit more holistic, like what I was learning in nutrition, helping people with health. And I came across Southern School of Natural Therapies, and their campus was so gorgeous, for one, but also when I was talking to the advisor there, they mentioned that maybe naturopathy was something that I'd like to look into, instead of just switching across to nutrition again. And I don't know why I hadn't have thought of that before, because I'd been to naturopaths when I was growing up, and I'd absolutely loved the types of holistic therapies that would come into play, like having like the iridology coming into it, where you're actually looking at the iris and seeing like, okay, so what predisposing illnesses could you have that might affect you down the track. And looking into like herbal medicines as well. I don't know if you've ever tasted a herbal tincture, but if you haven't tasted it when you're a child, it's definitely something that it takes your breath away when you try it as an adult. But yeah, so I was aware of naturopaths growing up, but I never really took it upon myself to go, hey, that's a direction I'd like to go in, until I really started realizing that that was how I was already living my life. I was already living to put as many herbs into my food as possible. I was already taking supplements like magnesium, just to, like a lot of people take supplements, just to help boost my health. And I realized that like, if I wanted to help people to my full advantage, I needed to have all of those sort of schools of thought and knowledge at my disposal to be able to help them help my clients as best I can.
Were you always into health and fitness?
No, growing up, no. Well, like I mentioned before, because I was so just weak as a child. Like I did dance, like a lot of girls do. I did my jazz and tap, and I played tennis mainly with my dad. But I wasn't an athletic child. In saying that, this is where my so keep in mind I didn't eat much growing up at all. So I'd wake up, I'd have like half a wheat bix with some sugar on it, and then I'd walk 2Ks to school every day. So that's not exactly being an athlete, but I kind of had that mentality in myself to push myself every morning and to granted I was always running late, so I was always trying to get to school as quickly as I could, but when it came to sports and things like that, it was really hard for me to be able to get into that mindset, because not only did I feel incapable, but I also have asthma. So exercise-induced asthma, trying to kick a ball around, was definitely not my friend.
Wow.
And yeah, and it wasn't until I was, I think I was 21 or 22, that I first kind of brought into the weightlifting side of a gym. And I was seeing a strength and conditioning coach at the time. And I was absolutely just awed by watching people lift heavy shit. And I didn't care that, like, the way that it was described to me was that that's the boys' room. I wanted to go and lift the heavy things. I didn't want to go be on a treadmill, because treadmill would make me out of breath and I'd end up collapsing. So when I started my fitness journey, my first goal was actually to achieve a chin-up, because it's really impressive and I knew that not many girls could do it. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to train, I'm going to go for chin-ups.
And that's how it all started, with weightlifting and then building up your body. But you know what? I love how you brought that up, because I feel like there's a lot of misconception on weightlifting.
Definitely back then. It's definitely changed a lot over the years. So when I first stepped into gyms, there was very few women still in the weightlifting area. It was very segregated to upstairs you have the cardio, and that's where all the girls are. And we might as well show you the weight room as well. Not that you're going to be in there, but we'll show it to you anyway. And yeah, so like when I first started training, I'd always just bypass the cardio. I didn't care about that. And go downstairs to the weight room, and I'd hide in the corner, and I'd be hiding, like, to do my little rows or to do my chin-ups and everything like that. And I didn't realize that the corner I was hiding in was surrounded by mirrors, so there was no way that I was actually hiding in that place.
You gotta check your forms, girl. That's why there are mirrors.
I was honestly just trying to get as far away from everyone as I could. It's like, I just want to train. I just want to be here by myself and work on my goals.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that I was actually helping other women to come into the weight area until one of the girls walked up to me one day, and she said that she sees me there every morning. And she's always inspired by watching me quietly be training by myself. that I was inspiring her to start doing chin-ups herself and to be working her way into the weight rooms as well. So that was I guess a really pivotal moment for me when I realized that I wasn't hiding all that well, and that people were actually looking up to me in that space.
Glad that you just shared that story, because for those who are listening and watching, whatever you're doing, somebody out there is watching you, like good or bad, and you are a role model to somebody. And so, yeah, if you're doing amazing work, keep up with it. If you're not, well, hopefully you will find your own role model to, I guess, turn your life around. But can you please quickly share maybe that, say, 3 benefits about weightlifting to women out there?
Well, I guess the one thing that I want to just kind of knock out of the water is the idea that if you're going to start lifting weights as a woman, that you're going to end up bulky, because that is so incredibly not true. Yes, weightlifting does boost your androgens, so like your progesterone and your testosterone levels. But for you to be able to be putting on enough muscle to look like a guy, you're going to have to be doing something else along those lines to be boosting your testosterone levels. So for me, for weightlifting, like I said, it boosts testosterone levels, which is actually really good for your body, because having high estrogen levels in the body is actually a little bit toxic and can cause a lot of damage. If you're not able to process estrogens outside of the body by having a really good functioning gut, then having higher estrogen levels can either like increase chances of breast cancer or like cervical cancer. Your moods will definitely be affected as well. So there's a lot of things that are negative consequences of having high estrogen. And weightlifting, like I said, it increases your androgen levels just that little bit, to help to regulate your hormones a lot better. So your moods are going to be a lot better, your periods are actually going to be a lot better. And for someone like myself that has endometriosis, I definitely know that I need to work on my balance with my androgens and my estrogens to make sure that I'm not too heavily balanced towards the estrogen side, because, yeah, things are going to get gnarly around that time of the month. What else is a benefit? Mindset is such a huge one. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but you do increase endorphins when you weight train. And yes, you can get runners high as well. But with weight training, if you're having that kind of stage in your life where like work is overwhelming you, you've got lots of things going on around you, maybe like you've got some relationship problems or something along those lines, and you step into the gym first thing in the morning and you go, you know what, damn it, I'm going to lift that weight and I'm going to start deadlifting. I love, especially with my female clients, I love if someone is in a bad mood to put them in front of the bar and get them to start lifting weights, especially deadlifts. Because there is no better feeling than that rush of androgens and endorphins and motivational drive when you start lifting something heavy and seeing yourself be that strong person that before you stepped into that room you didn't feel like you were. And I've seen someone go from having the worst day to the best day just from lifting a heavy bar, and it's the greatest thing to actually see.
As in their mindset or their health?
So for both, like it all interplays. Like health plays into your mindset plays into your health, and so it's incredibly empowering. Like to be able to feel strong and to be able to feel capable and to see, like, it doesn't matter if your goals are focused on physique. So if you're trying to lose weight or anything like that, to be able to feel strong within yourself and to be able to replicate that in the gym there's just no comparison. I love to use weight training or the gym as a metaphor that if you can achieve something inside the gym, you can do that in the rest of your life as well. And yeah, it's just a great feeling to know that you are capable and you are strong within yourself.
Yes, totally. I agree. I love that you talked about the mindset thing. For those who don't know you, you are actually taking NLP. Is that right?
Yeah.
Would you like to explain it to people, please, for those who don't know what it is?
So NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming, it's a type of mindset training that can be very fast and can be quite transformative for a lot of people. There's many different techniques that you can use, and one of them is like languaging. You can use hypnosis. Anchoring is another one, and I think to describe anchoring, yeah. So the best way to describe anchoring is to actually look at the lockdowns, where there's so many people that they've just absolutely lost their motivational drive because they're not going to work anymore. Yeah, so they've lost that state where they're normally focused. They normally focus, they normally get stuff done when they're at the office, but when they're at home, that's relaxation and happy times. So when they try to get that work done, their minds are just completely all over the shop, and they just want to go and cook some food because they're not anchored into that motivational space. So anchoring is about being able to take the state that you're wanting to elicit and anchor it somewhere on your body or in a movement or in a gesture or something like that, so that you can feel that feeling that you're wanting to feel at any point of time in the day, in the week, in the year, in your life. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and we all do this subconsciously. Yeah. We all have subconscious anchors, so it's just about actually making a conscious one.
Are you still doing the course?
So I've done a few courses on it. It's generally, there's about there's different levels that you can do. They're generally 7-day courses or something along those lines. I've done a few of them. I absolutely love them. I did it through a man named Rick Schnabel. I don't think he's lecturing now, but he's absolutely phenomenal. Just in his own way of wanting people to not just be able to manipulate others for sales or something like that, but to be able to manipulate yourself so that you can start living to your higher potential. And part of that is just being able to connect with yourself and just remove those limiting beliefs and sabotaging behaviors so you can actually excel and become the person that you want to become.
Yeah, I love it. I know you are not a rep for NLP, but however you describe it, I hope those who are listening and watching are quite intrigued, because me personally, I'm really into NLP. When my friend introduced it to me, I'm just like, oh my God, yes. Like, it's just so interesting. And why would you want to live an average life when you can live an amazing life, really? Right?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Thank you for introducing that to many more people. Well, because you are now studying naturopathy and you are still doing NLP and whatever you have been through, I feel like it might go back too long. But what would be the top 5 challenges in the past 5 years that you have experienced?
The past 5 years. So, well, like I said, for the first 20 years of my life, I didn't eat much. And part of it, my eating disorder was characterized as food avoidance kind of syndrome, where so it doesn't matter what the food is, doesn't matter what the texture is. If I was in a stressful state, my throat would close over when I would try to eat. And just to get a little bit too deep into it, so imagine as a child, you're growing up and you're being told to eat your breakfast, and you try to put a spoonful of food into your mouth and your throat closes over and you regurgitate into your mouth. It's quite traumatizing. And unfortunately, when I started studying again, even though I was studying naturopathy, that came back. So it was that trigger of going back to being in that learning space again, and that anchor, like I was saying before, that anchor of like, okay, I'm learning, I'm back at school, cool, and eating disorder switch back on. So that was a big challenge for me to kind of start overcoming when I started studying again, because there's a lot of that. I'll go back to limiting beliefs of like, oh my goodness, I'm just resorting back to who I was as a child. This is horrendous. And having to look within myself to see what it is that I was doing that was triggering that. Like, what is it that from my past, had I not cleared up and resolved, that was bringing this eating disorder back into my life now? So that was the first, I guess, big challenge that came up when I started studying again. The second I was actually leaving a long-term partner. And so these two triggers were both very emotional triggers for me. So the first one is the emotions, the stress of going back to learning. And then the second one was leaving my support mechanism. And no one should ever really downplay how much other people play, the role that they play in their lives. This guy was an amazing guy, just wasn't the right relationship for me. And I was very much ready to leave him, but I didn't realize the stabilization that I created around myself by being in that relationship, by having that same system every day, every week, to be able to keep me flowing from subject to subject at uni. So that was very life-changing for me. And through all this, I've done a lot of inner work to be able to reflect and go, okay, so what is it that I was needing from my life back then that I need to put into my life now? So acknowledging that I need to have people around me to be able to feel like I can study more. So even with lockdowns, like putting on a Zoom call or something like that, so I can have other people studying around me in the background, down to how is my desk set up so that I can mimic that same layout that I was productive in. So there's a lot of challenges with me realizing different elements of what I'd changed. So my weekly routine changed, my lifestyle changed, all that kind of stuff. And it's all just leveling up. Like every challenge that I've gone through in my life, it's all just a way for me to acknowledge what is difficult for me there and level up from it.
That was beautiful. I don't know how else to say it, but that was so beautiful. But like, when did you have those self-awareness? Is it when you started the NLP?
I guess it was before then. So when I first left high school, I moved down to Melbourne, blah blah blah. I used to live in the country, so I lived up in Echuca, moved down to Melbourne, new life. And unfortunately, my dad, he was very much hiding probably lifelong depression himself. And he didn't make it through the first year that I left home, because he retired. He didn't have his passion around him anymore. So he ended up committing suicide just before the first Christmas that I left home. So I guess that in itself, like I was saying before, growing up with depression myself, it was a very big awakening for me, and it was a very big realization of, okay, how is it that I actually want to live my life? Taking on the lessons that he was able to teach me. What is it about his life that I need to avoid, and what is it about his life that I do actually want to aim for? So there's a big lesson in that, and it took a lot of, I guess courage in that first stage, because I was only 19 years old when he passed away. But it took a lot of courage for me to look at that scenario and go, okay, I can either be overcome by this, or I can use it as a platform to grow myself from. So that was just definitely the big starting point in going from a little bratty teenager to actually going, wow, okay, yeah, let's actually having an empowered life, have a happy life that we can be, feeling just grateful for, and like just having that strive through every single day, every single week, as to what it is that I want to be able to do, and a big part of that is helping others.
Oh, thank you so much for being so raw and brave, for sharing that story. Thank you. But I have so many other questions I want to ask you, but today I want to focus on your service and, like you said, how you can help other people. So would you actually share with people how, what your service is, please?
I'm a personal trainer, I'm an NLP practitioner, and I'm a graduating student naturopath. So what is it that I do actually provide in that? Because it sounds like a whole heap of stuff, kind of like going like, oh yeah, you do strength training, but you do mindset, you do health, yeah, okay. Well, what I actually do is I empower women who feel disempowered by their health, physique, and relationships. I help them to have the tools at their disposal to be able to have the knowledge and confidence to succeed in their health goals. So whether that be physique goals, whether that be mindset goals, whether it just be that they want to feel more fit. But what I want to do is be able to take fitness, and a lot of our fitness industry is about fast fat loss. And so many people go through yo-yo diets when it comes to fast fat loss, where they get some results and then they just go backwards. And that comes back to health, and it comes back to mindset as well. So I give them the ongoing tools and support to be able to accelerate their health and physique goals, so they can live that strong, sexy, and empowered life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And is there anything new coming from your way?
I've got a new website on its way, and ebooks and some online courses that I'm launching as well, and they're all about that. So it's all about just starting off with the basics for some people, so the basics of like their health, and especially for the endocrine system for women, or the hormones for women, strength training for women, just mindset training as well. So looking at all the aspects of what is it that we need into playing to be able to have that sense of being healthy and whole, to be able to accelerate into our goals. And part of that as well is a big thing that a lot of people lack when it comes to like trying to achieve their goals, is the connection. So what is it that connection is? And that comes back to the mindset of like, are you connecting with others, or are you connecting with yourself? And being able to have that whole holistic sense of what is health and how can you achieve your goals for the long term, not just the short term.
Yes, that is so true. You know what? Like when you said the fat loss, the quick fat loss, and the yo-yo diet thing, I think a lot of people have been through it, especially women. And because we have been portrayed, like paint a picture how a woman should look like. So I guess some people, they put way too much pressure on themselves. Here is something I would like to remind people though. Before you go on any diet or wanting to have a weight loss or whatever, I kind of want to remind you to have a good intention. And like you said, it's about long term, not the short term gain. Because if you just want to have that, say, lose 5 kilos, but okay, so how is that going to benefit you in 10 years? Like, how is it going to benefit your health? So I just kind of want to remind people about that.
It's very true. And it's like definitely your health will be affected if you're going through yo-yo diets. But every time someone slips back from achieving their goals, when they start achieving their goals and they get amazing results, and then 1 month later they've already started shuffling back to, for some people before, like even worse than before they started the fat loss challenge or whatever fast fat loss that they're trying to achieve. Yeah. It's actually even quite psychologically damaging for them as well, because it feeds into that cycle of, I can't do this, I'm worthless, I'm not good enough. And that's a big thing that women, everyone, but definitely women need to absolutely shake off. Because just because, well, I guess not just because, but we should all be able to love our bodies exactly as they are right now. And that doesn't stop us from wanting to be able to achieve a different goal, but we are not going to be able to achieve that goal long term if we don't love and accept who we are in this state.
Yes. So what would be, okay, for those who are younger, because, you know, technology is so easy access now. It's so easy for the girls to just go online and look at all these pictures. How would you encourage the younger generation to really appreciate themselves?
Like you mentioned, going online, that's so damaging for not just young women, but for everyone to be comparing themselves to other people. And that comparison shouldn't be there. Whether it's them comparing themselves to other people, if it's other people comparing them to others as well, because I had that a lot growing up. If you're constantly being compared to others, and if you're constantly comparing yourself to others, you're never going to be happy with yourself. And is that the life that you want to live? If you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're saying like, yeah, cool, my body isn't perfect. Yes, there might be someone that has a better butt than me, or they have slimmer thighs than me, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, you are beautiful just as you are. And the sooner you can accept that as truth, the sooner you can empower yourself to have the life that you want.
I guess it's normal for, like you said, everyone to compare, and it just comes so naturally. It's such a bad habit that everyone has. But I think having the awareness of knowing why you are comparing it, is it for, the childhood trauma, like you said, like, are you trying to suppress something? Are you trying to heal something? Like, asking why is also quite important. I think sometimes comparing can help you to discover other layers about yourself, but please don't beat yourself up when you feel like you are not pretty enough or whatever it is. So what kind of, let's say, food or exercise would you suggest women in their 50s or 60s to do more of? What have you enjoyed so far? I really hope that you feel inspired by Zoe's story. She has already shared such amazing knowledge on what you should eat and how your mindset determines how your life may be like. Not only that, she's been so real and so raw to share her story and put her true self out there with everyone. I am sure you want to continue to watch part 2. Now don't forget to subscribe, click the thumbs up button if you have loved it, and share it with someone, because you never know what they're going through. And remember, you're amazing and you are not alone. And I will see you next time.